Yes, good morning. Welcome back to the Football Terrace. It's the build-up to one of the biggest weeks in Manchester United's Premier League lives over the past decade, really. Absolutely in the wastelands for the past 8 years, in all intents and purposes. Nowhere near a title race. Fans are getting excited. 21 is coming, is trending. And there are things to be positive about. But in a week that sees Manchester United go up against Burnley to go 3 points clear at the top, and then ends with, in my opinion, the biggest Northwest derby in years, maybe even in Premier League history, when you just take into consideration the context of where both teams sit in their life cycle. Ollie is facing 4 injury concerns ahead of this week, players that I think would be and are influential in relation to this first team squad. We're going to go through that in detail, present to you the news. I want your views and opinions. We can take your calls. This week is very much about interacting with you. Before we go any further, do me a favor and hit the like button. Please go into the link in our description below and sign up to our Discord server. It's really important to us as a community that you do that. That way you get notified every time we go live and every time there is new content out there for you. Make sure you're smashing the like button as well. Your interaction, which is really important. There's a comment here says, of course, Terry is, this is from a Liverpool fan. It says, of course, Terry is going to push the agenda that United have an injury crisis before the Liverpool match, while in fact, Liverpool is used to having the crisis. It isn't about pushing an agenda. It's news. I mean, I didn't make this up. I didn't sit there and make this news up. But if we've got 4 or 5 of our top players missing this week, and you've got 4 or 5 of your top players missing this week, what's the difference? I suppose what is the difference is the big thing being spoken about here. You can call in as well. In the description below is the link to phone in. The StreamYard link is there. I want to hear from you. In relation to this news, headline here says Man United is sweating on 4 injury concerns ahead of a big week where they play Burnley and Liverpool, with Solskjaer set to call on Tuanzebe. It could end up being a very, very big week in the career for Axel Tuanzebe this week, with Paul Pogba, Luke Shaw, Victor Lindelof, and of course Eric Bailly all potentially missing for both games this week. All have knocks, all have injuries, all have concerns, and could be missing for these games. And this, if true, will really test the resolve of this Manchester United squad. The article goes on to say that Eric Bailly is a serious doubt this week with a neck problem after being clattered by his own keeper, Dean Henderson. The Red Devils can go top at Burnley on Tuesday before a massive trip to arch rivals Liverpool on Sunday. And Solskjaer revealed only one of the 3 who missed out on Saturdays will be back as a chance to return for the reigning champions. United boss said that I hope to have at least one back fit for Liverpool, but I'm not sure that the rest will make it. Eric Bailly looked nasty as he collided with Henderson's knee, but Ollie confirmed there's no concussion. That's the good thing with the Eric Bailly situation. There is no concussion, and I think that needs to be focused on massively. We obviously know that Maguire came on. He said that he's okay. It's just a knock. But we know with Eric Bailly, the problem you have is this, and this is the question I want to pose to people here. If Eric Bailly's got a knock, do you play him? If Eric Bailly's got half a problem, do you wait for him to be 100% fit, or do you play him and then risk that turning into a bigger injury? That's the concern I have. And if Eric Bailly is missing, if Lindelof is missing, of course it's Tuanzebe that steps in. Are people confident with Terrace coming in for 2 games in a week if Luke Shaw is missing? And what of Paul Pogba? That's kind of going under the radar massively with him being an injury concern for this game. If there's no Paul Pogba for these 2 games, who steps in? Who steps in your mind? But who do you think Ollie will turn to? Will it be a big week for Fred, a big week for Scott McTominay? Or do you think it's about time some faith was put in Donny van der Beek? Does Donny van der Beek need to be given an opportunity if Paul Pogba is missing to step in and show Man United fans in the Premier League exactly why he's worth the money we paid for him and exactly why he's one of the best young talents in world football? I want your views and I want your opinions on this. You may also think this is mind games from Ollie. Send out a little bit of a sort of a message into the Liverpool camp. I do see a lot of Liverpool supporters a bit flappy at the moment. We've got some big previews, by the way, coming up this week. We've got LFC Day Trippers on. I'm going to be on the Coppish. The Coppish are going to be here. We've got James Redmond coming on as well. So there's going to be a massive build-up this week. It's going to be amazing. I'm so excited about it. There's a comment here that says, I'm glad Lindelof is out. Pogba can be replaced with Van der Beek or go back to 4-3-3. Not that big of a deal. And Terrace is more than capable. I'd like people's opinions on Terrace as well. I'd like to read some comments about what people think his start at Manchester United has been like. We're also going to play a little bit of a game later. I'm going to put a little screenshot up on I'm going to put something up on the screen, and I want to know what players you think I'm showing you in terms of their statistics. We're going to get that done for you a little bit later, but keep hitting that like button. Please share this on your social media platforms as well, and get yourself signed up to our Discord server. It should be with me in a few weeks' time. Once it arrives, we're going to start the competition, but the PlayStation 5 is on its way. You need to be a member of our Discord server, because basically getting your friends and family to sign up is going to be how you enter for that competition to the Discord server. We're going to go to the lines now and take your calls, hear your opinions on this. First one, legend of the show, regular caller, regular contributor, Pav is with us. Pav, how are you feeling ahead of this massive week for the club as a fan anyway? Plus, with this news this morning, there could be 4 major injuries to the squad this week. Give me your opinions, mate.
Yeah, so obviously with the Bailly one, we knew that it's possible that he might not feature, but then they come out and said that the injury wasn't actually that major. It was like a little knock. And where you said, should we play him? We've been playing Lindelof, who's had a back injury since the last season ended. His national manager come out and said this guy needs a rest, and we carried on playing him. So why is there no reason for Bailly to play on the weekend, next weekend against Liverpool? Like, we need someone who's quick at the back. Like, we've seen that Lindelof and Maguire, there's been way too many mistakes in that back 4 line. Yeah. And we need to start playing someone who's a bit quicker so we can play a higher line. We saw that on the weekend before he got injured against what I know it's only Watford, but we were playing a high line. You saw Fred and Donny van der Beek pushing up, and like there was no issues on that back line. So yeah, I really I don't want to sound harsh, but I do hope that Lindelof is still injured, because I want to see Bailly play next to Maguire. And obviously, Ollie likes to play mind games. It's not the first time he's done this. Like, he's a good liar, Ollie. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Pogba's back for that Liverpool game. I don't think he'll feature against Burnley. You'll probably see yourself, like, I think the last night someone had said on your the United show, maybe Matic and Donny, Matic or Fred. So yeah, I'm not too concerned about the injury guys. If there's Liverpool fans out there, you should be concerned about your injury crisis, because if you sit there playing what you played against, who was it, the Villa Young Boys, where they had, what was the game that they had Henderson at the back with Fabinho? I can't remember the other day. If you're playing that, I would be very concerned as a Liverpool fan, because Martial, Rashford, they will rip that defense to shreds when they see that. So I'm actually going into this game thinking we've got a chance. I don't think, no matter the cost, we can't lose that game. I'll come out of it with a draw. I'll be happy, but we shouldn't be losing that game on Saturday or Sunday. Sunday.
Well, I hear do you know what stands out to me when it comes to this? If Man United beat Burnley, I want to beat Liverpool at Anfield, of course I do, but a positive result is fine for us to maintain that gap between us and them, and then you push on from that point. Liverpool have quite a tough run of games coming after Manchester United, of course, and it's going to be interesting to see how that works out. But yeah, listen, for me, as far as I'm concerned, I want to see Bailly next to Lindelof. I think we need that extra bit of pace at the back, and it's not a criticism of either Lindelof or Maguire. They are what they are, and we've had many great defenders at the club who haven't been blessed with pace, but you need some speed around them. So Vidic, I think if Rio Ferdinand hadn't have had speed, Vidic wouldn't have been consistently as good as a defender in open play. Crosses into the box, set pieces, he would have always been dominant. But if you have 2 slow defenders next to one another, it is a lot easier to be exposed, especially in this last 10 years. In this last 10 years, my view with a lot of speedy, especially in the Premier League, a lot of our fast players in this league, not all of them, but a lot, you should just have speed. Like they all reminded me of Theo Walcott. They're all different levels, but there was a lot of speed and not always a lot of technique. And I think maybe in the younger years in the academies, the fast players were almost left alone to work on their speed and getting in behind, as opposed to working on their ball skills. Now, a lot of the faster players that you see, the Raheem Sterlings of this world, the Jadon Sanchos, the Rashfords, they're developed now with a lot more, Sakas, they're developed now with a lot more technical ability. So I think you mix speed and technique, it's a nightmare for defenders who lack pace. So you need that speed next to you. And I think it's about building a balance within the team. Pav, great call. Thank you for coming on and having your say, mate. Speak to you again soon. Take care. Next up on the show, we've got Nelson. Nelson, welcome back to the football series. Can you turn your device on? Please.
Yeah. What's up? How you doing?
The stream up on another. I want to ask you, Man United, what looks like a mini injury. Your opinions on it, mate?
Well, we have enough players to handle injuries at the club right now, so I won't be too bothered about it. Maybe everybody might be a problem for us actually, because his game suits Maguire. Actually, it's not about the pace. The pace is one thing, but the way his style of play kind of suits Maguire, kind of like, because Maguire is kind of reactionary. Same thing with De Gea is also reactionary. So they don't like they wait for things to happen before they make their moves. But like everybody is kind of the guy that he goes after things, he chases after things himself. He goes into things so he kind of creates that balance in our defense, kind of keeps us kind of in the offensive in that way, kind of. So I think we really miss him. For Pogba, I don't care like that much, because I think for as much as he can give us, he can also take from us. So he can give us good game, he can also give us bad games, and his bad games can be really, really bad. So yeah, so that's for Pogba. So the rest of them, maybe McTominay might be a problem if he's injured actually, but like that will be against Liverpool. It might affect us, but if McTominay is out, then we should play. We can play Van der Beek, and if we're playing Van der Beek, I prefer we should play Van der Beek with Matic than Fred, because Fred is kind of a guy that, like, I don't know. I think Fred is always hiding. I don't trust Fred. I think he's always hiding. He's never involved in the main play. He's never involved in it. So like, and I don't expect him to score. He's not a goal threat. Like, and he's always hiding. So like, I think we should sell Fred. For me,
there we go. Yep. I'm getting a bit of echo from Nelson there. Hides in games. Do you agree with Nelson? Thank you for calling the show, my friend. I'm not sure if I do. That Fred hides in games. Sometimes I think Fred does too much in games and loses the ball on the edge of the box, etc. But he's always involved. His rate of interception, his rate of passing, his rate of involvement, I think, is very, very high. But getting balance right is important. What he said about Baye, I do agree with. Next up on the show, we've got Paul. How you doing, Paul?
Hi, Terry.
You there, Paul? You just muted yourself, Paul. Paul, you going to speak or not? Okay, we'll jump on to another caller. Try calling us back, Paul. Be nice to hear from you. Who's next? We've got Naveen next on the show. Naveen, welcome to the Football Terrace. What do you want to say?
Hi, Terry.
Hi, what do you want to say?
Yeah, about the injury concerns, I think it's not a big deal because we have a good bench that we can replace it with. And I think it's a good chance for Tuanzebe to start. And I think Pogba can be replaced by Van der Beek. And we also have Scott, who's actually performing quite well. We have Matic as well.
Yes, I mean, so you're not that concerned. I mean, are you not worried about the strength in depth, though? And I mean, this is my issue is I feel like with a strong bench, we can make those 3 substitutions in both these games that might be able to turn a match. If we do have these 4 missing, it's what's behind that. What do we have to come on from the bench? What if there's an injury during these games? That's where my concern is. I still think we can pick a strong starting lineup without 2, 3, maybe even 4 of these individuals. But for me, it's the substitutions. And substitutions are a big area that Ollie gets criticised for. And if he has a weak bench, do you not think that could impact the outcome of these games?
Yes, it does impact the outcome of the game because we won't have a strong bench. But I do think that we can pull this off against Burnley. And whatever the Solskjaer said about Pogba, I don't really trust him because I do think Solskjaer have actually told a lot of lies previously, not in a bad way. I mean, like it's a mind game. Okay, so I think it can be just to rattle the cops.
Yeah,
and
look,
I think
I do get that. I do get that. I mean, mind games are a big part of football nowadays. Most managers do it in one way, shape, or form. They absolutely do. So I totally get that. Are you confident? Are you confident ahead of these games yourself?
against Burnley, yes, I'm quite confident that we can actually try to nick it because once we are on top of the league, the worst case scenario we would drop points against Liverpool, but I think we can actually pull it off. The next 2 games is very vital for our season. If we can pull this off,
yeah,
we are right on top with 6 points.
I agree. Naveen, thank you for calling the show and having your say, mate. Thank you very much. Next up, we're going to have Stephen on the show. Stephen, welcome. Good morning. Injury concerns for Man United this week. Give me your views, mate.
I totally sort of go against what he said there. I think if you need to win this league, you need a centre back at least. We saw even last season that you struggled with your bench last season, and the fact that this season, if you've got injury concerns, then you're going to need replacements for the people that you have to take off the bench and put on the starting lineup. In terms of Fred, I'd tell you what, if he's unimpressed by Fred, then we'll have him, right? Yeah, I think it's like I keep saying is that whoever wants this league this season has to go out in the January transfer market and make the signings they need.
Yeah, listen, I totally understand that. I think it's strengthening depth is important. That's kind of the thread that I'm pulling on with this. I mentioned with the last caller. I'm concerned with any injury for my club, but it's what you have to bring on from the bench. And I know Liverpool fans are concerned. If anything happens to any of their front three now, like Shaqiri, Origi, can these individuals really deliver a title if they have to play a number of games? And the way this season's going, the closeness of from top right down to 10th, it could just be 1 or 2 games where you're not quite strong enough that kind of create the difference, and it is a concern. I think the transfer market is going to be really, really important.
Well, that's the thing is that like in our end of the league is that Martinelli getting injured before the Newcastle game, right? Sort of just alarmed to me why I don't really trust Arteta in his squad management as such. I think he played too many games too soon. And now we don't know how long he could be out. And before Martinelli came back, we were dead. We were absolutely dead. And he sort of brought that little spark back into Arsenal. And now I don't know how we're going to sort of compensate for that.
Totally understand, Stephen, and these injury concerns are a problem for clubs. Stevie boy, thank you for coming on the show and having your say, mate. Thank you very much, as always, mate. Take care of yourself, buddy. Next up on the show, we've got man like Josh. Josh, welcome back to the Football Terrace, buddy. Injury concerns today for Ollie. Give me your opinions on which ones you think are true. Is it mind games? And if it is, who starts for you against Burnley?
Oh, I think it's a bit of all of it, to be honest. I mean, Ollie might be just saying that these players are injured to reserve a couple of them for Liverpool to give them a reason not to play against Burnley. That could be Pogba and Bailey. Because I can honestly see Ollie doing a Lindelof and Maguire back to maybe with Shaw and Wan-Bissaka or possibly Tellez and Williams even again against Burnley to save the biggest, strongest names against Liverpool. Because in Ollie's eyes, that might be the bigger game, bigger bragging rights, bigger everything else. Pogba, I'm upsetting that if he is injured and out, it's going to probably be a detriment. I mean, at the moment, the form he's been in, getting fit again, he's playing for a move essentially. So the way he's upping his game is only going to benefit us, even if we don't have him till the end of the year. If it wins us a title, then great. But if he's out, then I have some qualms. Liverpool always turn up, no matter how frail they're looking. They'll turn up for the Manchester derby. So I think it's a mixed match of things, because I mean, everyone knows Ollie's a great liar. He lies out the back teeth, and he can say it with a straight face, and people they'll either believe him or they won't. But whether it's to their detriment or not, that's just, it's all up in the air. I mean, Klopp's fired shots, Ollie fired some back, so it's going to be an interesting derby.
Of course it is. Josh, thank you for calling the show and having your say, mate. Thank you very, very much indeed. I think what Josh says there, I think, again, language is important. I wouldn't necessarily call Ollie a liar. I would say it's playing mind game. I suppose it is a lie, technically, if you're saying I'm going to have 4 players out and then only one turns up. These mind games are important. Liverpool have started the mind games already. Liverpool, with the penalty situation, their injury concerns. You will see, and let me just say this now, 9:30, Monday the 11th, in the build-up to this massive game. Liverpool supporters this week, watch their preview shows. 50% of the minimum are going to claim Man United are favourites for this game if we beat Burnley. If we beat Burnley, they'll start to push the notion that we're favourites for the title. Anything to wash their hands of responsibility. That's a mind game. It's as simple and as straightforward as that, as far as I'm concerned. David here, one of our members. By the way, you can become a member. The link to sign up is in the description below. It's for as little as 99p per month. There are different options available for you in there. It means a great deal to us when you sign up. Says, I think Ollie has these games ahead in mind. I'm sure he has an idea of who to play in which game. Do you know another little mind game on that comment, David? Another little mind game managers play is that we take it one game at a time. I don't think that's true. Or in fact, I believe to a high degree that's not true. I think that managers think 4, 5, 6, 7 games ahead. They look at the running, and it's why there was such a big fallout and frustration from Tottenham to have their game cancelled last minute against Fulham. I think it was Fulham. And the reason is because the team that he would have picked and prepared for that game, the work they would have done would have been, okay, these 11 players are starting. This is our bench, because we're going to have these. It'll be A, B, and C are being rested for this game, so they're ready for the match afterwards. And it throws everything out of kilter, especially if you promise people games. You also need to rotate because you want to keep people as fresh as possible should they be called upon for an injury for somebody just in front of them. So it's imperative. There's no way that Ollie is picking his team for Burnley and Liverpool and not thinking about the next 2 or 3 games. He will be thinking about those next 2 or 3 games. And then, of course, draws in cups change things. If Man United get a favourable draw in the FA Cup this evening, you'll see more rotation in the FA Cup clash than if we pull Chelsea or Arsenal or Liverpool out the bag. If we get one of those big boys, then that changes things again. And you have to then weigh up and balance. And I think for me, it'll be a benefit for Man United at this stage of the Premier League, and same for all the Premier League clubs, to draw a minnow in this round of the FA Cup, because it means you can, do you know what? We've got a midweek Premier League game on the Wednesday and an FA Cup tie on the Saturday. We can play our full team for the Premier League game, because we know we have a much more simplistic game at the weekend. If we get a League One team, a League Two team, a low-end Championship team. So I think you always get mind games in football. Terry, what's your thoughts on Pogba? Will he play against Liverpool? I think personally, Paul, Pogba will be back for this game. I think by hook or by crook, he'll be there. I actually think he'll be more beneficial from the bench in that game. To come on, 20, 25 minutes to go, tired legs, threading balls in. Depending on the scoreline. I mean, if it's 0-0, I think it would stand out even more. But yeah, it's one of those things to me where Pogba's going to have an important part to play. I kind of get Leipzig, PSG, first time round vibes for that game. Man United are not going to have the majority of the ball. Liverpool are going to be the aggressors. And that's why beating Burnley is important. Beat Burnley, Liverpool have to beat Man United. If we get through the opening 20 minutes at Anfield without conceding first, later on in the game, in my opinion, Paul Pogba becomes massively influential coming into the game. I think Fred and McTominay will be needed. I think their mobility, I think their ability to break up play with their athleticism and mobility is going to be important as that double pivot shielding our back line. It's going to be an interesting one. That's how I feel right now about it. By the way, thank you to Naveen for becoming an official Academy member of the Football Terrace. It means a great deal to me. Thank you very, very much for doing that. Let's do some more of your comments coming through. We always try to prioritize member comments and super chats as best we can, just because those people, pay for their privilege and support the Football Terrace financially. Josh here says, too right, David. I feel like Ollie and Klopp are starting to get a little bit of a management rivalry going. Well, you'll always get that if teams go head to head, especially if it's Man United, Liverpool. It'd be amazing to see that happen. There's no doubt about it. Remember, if you are a member of the Football Terrace, we do have the custom emojis that you can use, and we're going to share some of them now for you on the screen. You've got the Man United badge, the Arsenal badge, the Klopp. You've got the Pogba emoji. There, the Arteta one. There's Kane. There's Aaron Wan-Bissaka, the Spider one. There's the Avengers. There's many, many more as well. We've just shared them in the comment section. This week, before the Liverpool game, we'll be adding 4 brand new updated emojis for you as well. I just haven't had time to upload them, but that will get done this week. So a big thank you to all of our members. Terry, what's your 11 for Burnley? Great question. I went through it. Do you know what I would do? I would go with Tellers at left back, goalie De Gea, Tellers at left back, AWB right back, Maguire versus Maguire, Tuanzebe at centre back, double pivot. I said Matic and Pogba. If Pogba's out injured, Matic and Van der Beek. Rashford left, Greenwood right, Cavani as the striker, and Bruno Fernandes playing in the 10 role. And win, lose or draw that in the game at Anfield, I would look to bring Luke Shaw back in defensively. I'm not even too sure why. It just feels a gut feeling. Get Bailly back into the defense next to Maguire. AWB stays. I would put Fred and McTominay in as a double pivot in front. They protect better than anybody else in our team. And their results against the top 6, I feel are stronger. Although we haven't won as many this year, we haven't lost. So the lose percentage has been quite low. I would have them two play in that game. I believe if they would have started together against Tottenham, we wouldn't have got beat 6-1 as a view. Rashford left. Greenwood right, Martial through the middle with Bruno in that number 10 position is what I would go with personally. That's just my view on that. That's what I would do. Next up on the show, we're going to have Abraham Jr. on the shows out and about. I can see him bowling around at the minute. Morning, mate. How you doing?
I'm good, Terry, man. I've been waiting for a long time. Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Can you hear me?
Yeah. What do you want to say, bro?
I think you talked about Pogba maybe resting for against Liverpool, right?
Well, there's reports that he might be out injured this week. Yes.
Oh, he might be injured.
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's a knock. Yeah, but like I said, you said that with Liverpool saying that we are favorites if we beat Burnley. If we come over that, if we win against Burnley, we might be favorites. I think that's right of you because they've always been known to do this. But yeah, I think it's one of those ones where we have to win against Burnley and then we might be favorites. But I don't really see it that way this time. But I've seen a lot of United fans this year. They say that we're favorites and all of this, but like we have so many tough places to go to. So I'm optimistic in a way, but also on the other hand, it's like, if we can keep this up, like winning against the smaller teams, then we might only just need a draw against the bigger teams. But we have to stay consistent, and that's what I'm afraid of with this United team. So I don't know, man.
I understand you on that, bro. Do you know what I would say is this? In the past 12 months, the consistency has grown into our game. We've seen that by our points per game average rise. We've seen that. You got to remember, from when Ollie was appointed as the permanent manager through till the middle of January 2020, our win percentage was 33%. So I think the challenge around him being inconsistent in that time period is a fact. If you only win 33% of your games, you're very inconsistent. That win percentage is driven now to the high 60s over the past 12 months. So the consistency that we've demonstrated to raise your win percentage to the high 60s means you're doubling your output of wins. So the consistency is growing. We still need to maintain the arc that we're on and the movement that we're in. And this is probably where I've got no time or interest anymore in trying to convince an Ollie out to give Ollie a bit of time. That's their preference. That's their choice. I'm not going to waste any of my life on it. What I will say to people is this, though. If 12 months ago you demanded improvement, if you demanded we win more than 1 game, 2 games on the bounce in the Premier League, demanded we improve our win percentage, improve our league position, all those things Ollie had to the point where we're 90 minutes away from going 3 points clear at the top of the league. I think not show him even some congratulations for that just tells me that there is a genuine feeling of disdain towards him. And it doesn't mean I disregard you as an individual, but I almost feel like I don't want to hear your opinion anymore because you're almost to a degree, you're a liar. That's one of the reasons why I got called out a lot yesterday. That's one of the reasons why I respect because Rance has said, I don't care what Ollie achieves, I'm never backing him. So at least he's unequivocal. At least he is direct, saying, I'm never supporting him. What I hear from a lot of the others is, look, if he starts winning 2 or 3, 3, 4 games on the bounce, I'll back him. If he improves that win percentage, I'll back him. If he gets us up challenging for a title, I'll back him. He does these things. One bad result or one bad performance, and they're straight back to he's not good enough. And so that's for me what I would say about the consistency element. It has come and is on its way. In terms of this week, do you think Man United can win 1 of the games, 2 of the games? What are you saying?
I'm not really optimistic against Liverpool, but if we can get over Burnley, if we get 3 points, then like you said, Liverpool, they will be pressured. They have to win. So hopefully a draw, but I gotta be honest with you, Terrace. I'm not really that optimistic, to be honest. But it's I don't know, because like you said, Liverpool they will have the majority of the possession, and I just don't see us just like against City. We were totally outplayed. I mean, they had a lot of the possession, and we have to dare to play in sometimes, and we can't just rely on playing on counterattacks. But yeah, I'm not pessimistic, but I'm definitely not hopeful, if I can say it like that. But we have to get 3 points against Burnley, and then we can say that we can kind of afford to lose against Liverpool. If we can say that, not really, but yeah, that's how it's started.
The wind is really loud coming down the microphone there. Sorry, bro. Listen, I respect a lot of what you're saying there. You make sense. And I suppose my one question to you would be, if Ollie does pull off is it winning both the games this week? Is it these moments that would just give you more faith in Ollie?
100%. I've always been a little bit skeptical about Ollie, but if he wins against Liverpool, then I mean, like I can't see how you can doubt him as a manager. Like there's still questions and all that, but like then he's in a I'll say he stands really strong. Yeah, it'll be
100%. Listen, great call, mate. Thank you for coming. Where are you, by the way?
I'm in Denmark actually right now. I'm from Denmark.
Okay, I couldn't tell. Bro, like the sky is grey. I'm like, man, you were listening. Serious of my brother. I'll speak to you soon.
Take care, man.
Thank you. Yeah. Bye. Shame the wind was doing it because he actually was making some good points. It was a good chat, but the wind was where he's in Denmark's hella strong, bro. Hella strong. And I agree with what he said. Like I said, look, a lot of people in the last 24 hours have called out Rance. And again, where I defend Rance is he's unequivocal. You may hate his way of articulating, but he's straight with it. My problem has always been more with the people that are, look, if Ollie gets us challenging for the title, I back him. Okay, he's challenging for the title, you're backing him. No, but I'm not happy with how we're playing. He's improved how we're playing. We're scoring more. We're conceding less. Yeah, but my favorite players are not. Your favorite players are now in the first team as well when we're winning and we're at the top. Yeah, but see, those men, those people, they lack a backbone. They lack a backbone. So again, I'm going to try and convince any of them to support Man United, but just go back and watch. Just search Ollie out debates and Ollie out stuff on the Football Terrace and look at the things 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 9 months ago that everybody said they wanted from Ollie for them to support him. He delivered 90% of it and they're not supporting him still. See, they're the ones you got to worry about, bruv. Decepticons, bruv. That's what they are, Decepticons. Next on the show, we're going to have Calvin. Calvin, welcome back to the Football Terrace. What you saying, my brother?
Hey, how's it, Terry? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Give me your thoughts ahead of this massive week for Manchester United.
Yeah, it is a big week, a massive week. But I'm just one of those people who basically think, what, let's handle what we have in front of us first, and Burnley is what we have first. And we've noticed that United thrive on winning matches. We always go through this streak of winning or losing matches. So I think if we can start by winning Burnley, then going forward to Liverpool will be, I think, a conversation worth having.
Yeah, listen, I said it last night in the stream. I mean, I thought Aaron and Manny were sort of. Do you know what's mad with Manny and Aaron? They're two of the most. I don't mean negative in a bad way. They have no faith in Ollie at all. They have hardly any faith in any of our players, bar a couple. But yet they were talking about Liverpool as being like, oh, we can get them, we can kill them, we can beat them. And I'm sort of like, I don't understand the logic in the brain in terms of you think we're a trash performing team with a trash manager and most of our players are not good enough. But yet, even though Liverpool are on a bad run, we can still beat them. So it must mean we're fairly good. Like there must be an element of Man United. Anyway, but my view is like, I'm not disregarding Liverpool at all. I think Liverpool are like, I said it last night to them. They were sort of like really confident of beating them. And one, I don't think you should ever be confident of beating Liverpool at Anfield in any era of Man United versus Liverpool. Secondly, I don't get how you can completely not support what we're doing as a club in terms of not like it, think it's rubbish, but still be that confident. That's one thing. Equally, let's not look beyond Burnley. And although the manager has to think about picking his lineup beyond Burnley, the players can't. I don't want this morning at the training ground. I don't even want Rashford and Martial talking about Liverpool. I don't even want them thinking about. I want them watching and studying Burnley to within an inch of their lives, so they go there and they get that game won. Because the Liverpool game, if we don't beat Burnley, the pressure on us against Liverpool intensifies. We beat Burnley, all the pressure for me is then on Liverpool for them to beat us, to catch us back up. And if they throw that away, we walk away either 3 points or 6 points clear after the Anfield game. And that Anfield, Liverpool away, is the hardest game of the season. And to walk away from that, it's a 6-pointer. It's massive. It gives Man United a 2-game advantage.
Exactly.
Lose 2 more games in Liverpool for the remainder of the season and still potentially finish in front of them. Now, I know City are on the way up as well, so we have to worry about them. So not necessarily win the league, but it gives us a 2-loss advantage over Liverpool. If we have a positive week, it's really important. Calvin, I appreciate you coming on, mate. We're going to jump on some more calls. Top man, thank you. Everyone tuning in, please smash that like button right now. Massively important to the channel that you get that done. We're going to do some quick fire calls here. First up on the show, we're going to have, I'm really struggling to pronounce some of the names we have on here. First up, though, we've got Yasin Mohammed. Yasin, welcome to the show, bro. What are you saying, brother?
Hi, Terry. I just wanted to talk about the 2 fixtures that are coming up. Burnley and then obviously Liverpool.
Yeah,
with you. I am honestly with you. I want us to concentrate on Burnley because if we win that Burnley game, it then puts the pressure on Liverpool. You're gonna see the Liverpool fans getting irate, going mad on social, saying, "Oh, the pressure's not on us. The pressure's not on us." Then we go into that game against Liverpool, and then it's all on them to then come out and beat us.
Mate, I agree. Yeah, we obviously agree because you listen to our point. I think it's massively important. I really do. And just as well, it's that feel-good factor. There is that feel-good factor to be able to have a few days where we're clear at the top. That, for me, is important. And I honestly believe this. What's missing now with this Man United team is the confidence to push on, the confidence to say we can do it. And I think winning this game puts us in a very, very strong position to be able to do that. Yeah. Go on, Yaz. Final point. Mate. Go on, make final point.
Yeah. Basically, I was also I don't understand this whole Martial FC, Rashford FC. Like, why can't we just back our team? No matter who's playing, no matter who's out there, back your team.
Well, there is no Martial FC. There is no Rashford FC. There's no Pogba FC. These people are not. These people have for me, their opinion on Man United is worth zero because they're not Man United fans.
Same.
So
I don't understand them either.
I don't want to hear your suggestions at what would make us a better football club when you don't support a football team, bruv. Like, go back to supporting players, go play FIFA. You know what I mean? You know, get back on the mummy titty. Do you know what I mean? And cry. Listen, Yaz, top man. Thanks for coming on the show, brother. Look after yourself. Thank you. Next up on the show, we're gonna have Sly on the show. It's not Sly. It's Sianda. Is that it? Sianda, what you saying?
What's up, Terry?
How you doing, bro? What do you want to say?
I'm good, and you?
Yeah, I'm good. What's on your mind, bro?
Nah, man, all you just playing mind games with these people. Mind games, he always does this to everyone.
Is that good or bad?
It's good. I love it. And we're going to beat them come Sunday. I'm positive about it.
You're positive we'll beat Liverpool Sunday? Why, though? What makes you so positive about that, bro?
It's the atmosphere and the mood around the club right now and the energy. I'm just enjoying everything about it. So, yeah, it's going to happen.
There we go. That's a big statement made. Thank you for calling the Football Terrace. Do you know what? I'm not as confident as that. But I like hearing it. I've not heard Man United fans that confident in a long, long time. Next up on the show, we've got Terrace. Terrace, what you saying, bro?
Yeah. As you know, I'm a Liverpool fan, right?
Yeah, well, I can see the picture of no Salah on the screen. So, yeah, what do you want to say, my man?
Yeah. You guys are positive on that match. Well, you guys should be worried.
We should be. Tell us why we should be worried about Liverpool Sunday, bro, in your words.
My words. All right. This is not just a league match. This is a rivalry match. And not just any rivalry. One of the biggest rivalry in English Premier League, right?
Yes.
So there ain't going to be no fun and game in that. Whether I have a center back or not, we're going to come hard. And my man Robertson, he doesn't play around the back. As you know, he's an injury and he doesn't take things lightly. You feel me?
Yeah, I hear that. I mean, are you so what makes you so confident? So what is it about Liverpool and Klopp, although you've been on some poor form, that makes you think you're going to beat Man United Sunday? You tell me.
Love that my players got for the manager, and they will do whatever it takes just to please him. That's why I'm confident.
So you're doing a bit of an interstellar here. It's love. Love is what's gonna win. Love conquers all.
You have conquers all, my friend. I'm telling you. You guys should be worried. And you guys, that match you got tomorrow, that match is in none of your players' head. They're mostly focused on the Liverpool match. You're gonna draw that match and you're gonna lose against Liverpool. Remember that. Tyrese told you that first.
Tyrese has said it, bruv. Listen, I like the energy, my brother. You look after yourself, my friend. Take care. Drawing against Burnley, losing against Liverpool is what Tyrese has had to say this morning. Get your comments in. Give us your opinions. I want to hear from you now. You can call in via the StreamYard link, which is in the description below. Make sure you're smashing that like button as well. Nearly 800 people watching. Come, let's get this past 1,000 likes, people. If you're watching now, watching the playback, keep hitting that button. Let's just say here, let's not pretend Sir Alex Ferguson, Wenger, Jose, and other world-class managers didn't put out stories of injured players just to make the opposing teams think. Of course they did. Of course they did. Mind games are a big thing. Phil here loving what Tyrese had to say. A few laughing emojis, but there we go. Listen, love is going to win the game for Liverpool. The hugs, bruv. The hugs. I love it. Can you imagine? The hugs. Let's go to some more calls here. Next up on the show, we've got Kyle. Kyle, welcome back to the Football Terrace. What you saying, bro?
Yeah, I like what he's saying about love. I mean, my wife used to tell me that.
The troll's back. So we just listened to he's bottled it. My wife used to tell me. And do you know what? I kind of knew it weren't him. That picture didn't look like him. Listen, love your show, Terry from Malaysia. Big up yourself in Malaysia, my brother. Listen, we got a little ledge on the show. Birthday boy yesterday on the show this morning. My guy, Igao in the house. What you saying, brother?
Chilling, man. Up early. Just wanted to call you, say what up. the thing that you hit the nail on the head when you said it's your own players' mentality going into this Burnley game that can affect them based on if they look past Burnley, it will definitely have an effect on that Burnley game, and they'll be more focused on the Liverpool game than the Burnley game. And that right there is another reason why you guys play down to your competition. It's not that you're not better than Burnley. It's just sometimes you're mentally looking past the opponent, and that will affect you during that game. And I think
we've done that before, and I think that's one of the things we need to conquer, because I know Ollie's outers, they demand a win against Liverpool, and no matter what we do against Burnley, not beating Liverpool is going to trigger them like 110%. So that's why beating Burnley is really important, because United inners, people that care about Man United's progression over everything else, I think we're in the situation where a positive result against Liverpool or not getting beat badly by them in the context of the season is going to be absolutely fine. Not beating Burnley and capitalizing to go 3 points clear at the top at this stage, that for me is more unforgivable. Any mistake against Burnley is a much bigger issue than not beating the best team in the league at their home stadium where they haven't been beat for 2.5 years. Context is very, very important. I also think beating Burnley puts us into a very commanding position going into Anfield, because we have seen a vulnerable Liverpool of late. If they go in 3 points behind, knowing it could become 6 points behind, you may just be able to exploit those vulnerabilities a little bit more and damage them and damage their psyche, and at the same time improve your own. I think what's really important as well is not to, of course, undermine City that are coming up. You know, they're just coming up the slipstream and nobody's really noticed them, and then suddenly, bang, they're there or thereabouts. What's your money on Man United doing this week? Over these 2 games, what do you think is going to happen, Igal?
I think that you're going to beat Burnley, and then the Liverpool game is going to end up a draw. Because I feel like it's just going to be one of those games where either team doesn't want to lose, and no team ends up taking their foot off the gas and trying to go for the win all the way.
Yeah, I do hear that. Can you see Man United winning both games this week?
How many games have you won in a row already?
2 currently. So it's interesting. So I think we won 4, drew, won 2, then drew, and now we're on a winning streak of 2 again.
I think there's a more likelier chance of you guys beating Burnley and then drawing than there is a chance of you guys winning both games. I think there's going to be a draw coming soon, because you've been on a good run as of late, and eventually it's gonna go down, and that's normal. People shouldn't be overreacting if you guys draw to Liverpool, or if you guys I could even see you guys getting a situation where you could drop points against Burnley and then have all your focus on Liverpool and then end up getting a result. I actually see you guys winning, a better chance of you guys winning if you were to lose to Burnley, because then your players would definitely be like, okay, this is when we need to step up. You get what I'm saying?
No, I listen, I hear the logic in what you're saying there. And sometimes, again, you could see that a negative result against Burnley could maybe make Liverpool players overconfident. There could be that element of, they're going to come here desperate and they'll leave themselves exposed. And this is why us focusing on our own mentality is so important. And like I said to Aaron, to Manny last night, you don't go into the game against Liverpool scared, but you don't go into the game, we're going to beat these. You need to, I've always quoted this a few times, don't be careless, but don't be too careful either. You need that middle ground where you respect what Liverpool can do, you respect what Burnley can do, but you can go there and get the result. And if you have that mentality, we could come out on top and win both those games back to back. And we put ourselves into a very good position to be able to say we're legitimately in the title race and we have a shot. We have a shot at winning it. And I still make it an outside shot, because the overall quality of the Liverpool squad and manager, the overall squad and manager of Man City outweighs Manchester United. And that has to be that you can't have a PE teacher as your coach and compare it to a Pep Guardiola, a Jurgen Klopp. I'm quite happy to admit we've got more of an inside shot than an outside one if people want to admit that Ollie's a very good manager. But it means people publicly stating that Ollie is actually very, very good. They won't do that. So it's entirely up to them.
We know it's about agendas. We know if Pochettino came in, everyone would be singing from the same hymn sheet and everyone would be saying, oh, we're going to win. But when it comes to when it comes to Manchester United, to me the bigger issue is you can't have people infighting about a player not getting game time if you guys are getting results. Like I always see free Van de Beek, this is that. Why is Martial not playing? Why is Cavani not playing? Why is this guy not playing? To me, that even in my own fan base we have that, and I get so confused. I'm like, if you're winning, why are you upset?
Well, if you're losing games, then the way I look at it is this: if you're not performing and you're losing, saying we should have played these 3 players instead, your point holds a bit of water, because in worst case scenarios, you would have only have lost the game as well. When you win a game, and people say, like we had the guy Siggs on the other day, respected opinions, but was showing me that the win percentage, again, it was weird that he only used the win percentage since Bruno came in, but the win percentage of Bruno and of McTominay starting games is lower than when we don't start him, but when we use other people. And it's a very difficult one to throw out as a stat, because, well, what's the win percentage of him McTominay being in the team is part of the problem, maybe, but who's he played next to in the games that we haven't won? Equally, who are the teams that we've played that he hasn't won? So let me give you an example outside of win percentages. If you have 2 number 9s at Arsenal, they both scored 10 goals this season, but one of them has scored 10 winning goals against top 6 opponents. The other one has scored the second or third goals in routs against lower level opposition. Which of the 2 is the better striker? They've scored the same amount of goals. So this is my point. If you've got a midfielder, if Pogba starts 10 games and McTominay starts 10 games, McTominay's win percentage is 80%, Pogba's is 50%. But Pogba started all the tough games, and McTominay starts the easy games. It isn't fair to say, just unequivocally say, we win more with McTominay than we do with Paul Pogba, because you've got to look at the level of opposition. So there's always context is always kind of needed when it comes to that. So when people say we won today, but if we'd have started Van der Beek, we'd have won and played better, you don't know that. You don't actually know. Having Van der Beek in and taking out Matic, we might have lost the game, because maybe the balance would have been different. And that's where I do agree with you massively. Like, if you win the match, saying that we would have, we won 2-0, but we could have won 4-0 if we'd have started with Cavani and not Martial. You don't know that. You just don't know. And why would you, like, based on what you're saying, you'd like to play the game again? You got 3 points, but instead, I want to give you back the 3 points. Can we play the game again? But with my lineup, I think we can win it better. That's what you're saying. Why would you do that? That makes sense to me.
Listen, Terry, there's nothing wrong with wanting your team to do better. There's nothing wrong with wanting your team to do more. But it's a toxic nature of almost having to belittle somebody or bring somebody down because they haven't done the Cruyff turn that you wanted to see, or they haven't done the crazy skill that you haven't wanted to see during the game, or they haven't gotten that extra third goal to make it 3-0. Like, that to me is ridiculous, especially if you're winning a game. You finding a fault in a loss and being critiquing situations, nothing's wrong with that. But for you to continuously insult or berate a player, like we have it even at my club, people will make fun of a player. Even Lacazette right now, he's on form. He's probably one of the most on form players in the Premier League, but people will still say he's shit, get him out, sell him tomorrow. And it's like, to me, that is counterproductive.
I agree, and I suppose this is, I'll go back to that point. We had Siggs on the line. That the video's out, actually, the clip on the Football Terrace Clips channel, which you can all go and subscribe to and watch in the link in the description below. And what my point to him was, and maybe I didn't articulate myself well on the call, because I was trying to digest what he was saying, is you can go and find a stat that, we lose, our win percentage drops by 20% when Scott McTominay starts. That's fine, but I then need what I always say about statistics, you need context to these statistics as well. One of the reasons I love Bruno Fernandes, and I know I talk about his stats, is so many of his goals have been opening goals, equalizers, and winners. So they're not just, he hasn't scored the volume of goals he's had, and they've all been the second of a 4-0 route or the fourth of a 4-0 route. A lot of them have been, so it's the clutch moments within all those goals that make him stand out. So when you look at the Scott McTominay thing, statistically, our win percentage drops when he's not in the team. But a lot of the games where he started have also been against the bigger sides. So drawing with Chelsea's, and yes, we lost against Arsenal, but drawing with Chelsea and drawing with City at home, are you comparing that to beating West Brom when he didn't play? So for me, a draw against City is a much harder game than playing against West Brom. If Scott McTominay started against West Brom, I still think we win that match. But if we don't start Scott McTominay against City, And this ain't Scott weren't the difference, but the Scott and Fred partnership, maybe we lose that game. So I think sometimes you need to apply context. Yesterday, there's a stat going around about one player's pass completions against another. And I'm saying, okay, but you then have to, if you really want to analyze it, how many of their passes were forward, sideways, and backwards? And where did the percentage drop? I then did the deeper analytics. The one who had the lower pass completion rate by nearly, I think it was like 15%, played double the amount of, attempted double the amount of forward passes. So when you look at it, it's a case of, well, if I'm passing everything sideways and backwards, I'm going to have a better pass completion rate. Where a 94% pass completion rate is amazing is if you're also producing the most amount of forward passes in a game as well, or cutting passes or through balls, and you're still maintaining that. But you'll find you don't. When you start going into the upper echelons of players that are playing the forward passes, most of their pass completion rates drop to the mid to low 80s because a lot get intercepted. So you have to apply, I think you always have to apply that context, and it's important. Of course, stats matter. Of course they matter because it's there. And I want to show people how stats matter. I'm going to show something on the screen now, actually, with the viewers. This is currently out on social media on the Football Terrace Twitter account. So if you're not following it already, go and get it done. You can see the Football Terrace there at TF Terrace. This is something I posted earlier on today. I want to actually zoom in on this a little bit closer.
Yeah,
so based on the eye test, which one, 2, or 3, is Goretzka, McTominay, or Donny van der Beek? Please vote below. That's the link to this show, by the way. So this shows you ball recoveries. This is per 90 minutes. Ball recoveries per 90 minutes. Maybe I'll zoom in a little closer as well so everyone on the screen can see a little bit better. Ball recoveries per 90 minutes. Possession loss per 90 minutes. Goals, chances created. A really good mixture of different attributes that are important to midfield players. Crossing accuracy, passing accuracy, forward passes per game, which is interesting. Short passes completed, tackles per game, ground duel success, clearances, interceptions, blocks all being made. All these things. And you know when some people say things like, you can't just compare all people on goals and assists. No, these are other areas that are really important. You can then break these down further. So you can go into forward pass completion rate and other. So there's even deeper statistics you can look at to really assess people. Because just because someone has here 89% pass completion, you should go into even further. But we have quite a good mix here. And then there's a vote underneath. So you can then go and vote. So go check it out. You can vote. Which order is it? So currently leading the way is number 1 here being Goretzka, number 2 being Donny van der Beek, and number 3 here being Scott McTominay. Second place is the other way around, with Scott McTominay being number 1, Van der Beek being number 2, and Goretzka being at the end. So there's a good little mixture here based on that. But I want you guys to go and have your vote right now on the Football Terrace homepage on Twitter. Go and follow us over there as well. Get that done right about now. It'd be amazing to get your contributions. But this is where, and I'm going to start doing more of these tests, and I'll be revealing it later, where I want to see if the eye test matches the statistics. Because if your eye test is really true, you'll know who the most influential players are. Or maybe you're missing some of the great things that somebody, maybe you're missing some of the, like here, maybe you're missing the amount of ball recoveries a player's doing because you don't rate him. Maybe you're missing the amount of interceptions a player doesn't make because you love them too much. But statistics don't lie. Your eye does, in my opinion. Equally, statistics can lie. Some people are like, oh, my guy creates loads of chances. And you go and look at it, you're like, well, actually, he's not creating any chances per game. Why is that? Go and get that voted now, people. And that's all it comes to when it comes to stats. There needs to be context. And the other day, I was watching a different stream, as a Chelsea stream. And this Chelsea fan's nice guy. Always rips stats apart. Every single time you see a player that he doesn't like rated, he goes, stats don't mean anything. Stats are stupid. Stats are crazy. There was then a comparison stat that was given to him, and it was a player he doesn't like versus a player he does like. And he said, look, and his words were, look at them shit stats. Look at them shit stats for Joe Bloggs. Trash player like I told you, that proves it. I laughed my head off. I'm like, so good stats for players you don't like are nonsense, but when they're bad stats, you take them, you don't even investigate them at all. No context, just, yeah, they were bad, they were terrible. It's a real interesting one. Yeah. As far as I'm concerned. And I think that's where the context is always going to be required and always going to be sort of needed in that regard, mate. But Gal, listen, I appreciate you coming on the show, mate.
Can I just say one thing? Everything you just said could be brought down to one thing. It doesn't matter how good the stats are. If one guy's winning you the game week in, week out, and the other guy's considered world-class based on his stats, you'd rather have the guy who's winning you the game week in, week out. That simple.
Of course you would. And for me, sometimes we it's just one of those things in life. Like, you know, they often, there's been so many films that touch on this. Like, if you change one thing from the past, what will happen to the future? You know, you might, you know, Man United might go out against Burnley and scrape a 1-0 win. And after the show, we're like, oh, I would have started these 3 players or done this different or had this formation, we would have won better. You don't know that. We could have started that game and we could have lost. And the proof's in the pudding. If I had a magic wand, if I was Harry Potter and I had the little spinning wheel, if I was a genie in the lamp, you know, Will Smith or probably Robin Williams, I think he did it better. With respect to Will Smith, I love that guy, but Robin Williams Genie was better. The genie of the lantern came out and said, "Listen, I'll give you a wish. You can go back to the start of the game again. You might win, you might lose, you might draw. We can pick your team and your lineup. Would you take that? If your answer's no, I wouldn't give up the 3 points. Hush the moaning." And that also says you don't completely believe in what you're saying. And that's the point I say to people. Like, are you willing to go over it again and maybe lose and have your theory tested? I don't think most people would be, bro. I don't think most people would take that risk. So for me, you know, if we win a game, I celebrate the win. I'll criticize areas. Again, you go back to what I said after the Watford game. My frustration was more I didn't see fight from certain players. That what the win I was like cool with. It was more I wanted to see Dan James and Lingard fight. To say, I want to start over Rashford and Bruno. Now, I know how hard that is a task. And maybe I'm reflecting my own self on people here. Because that's me. You know, in any career I've ever had, someone could be unequivocally better than me. But I still fight to catch them. So even if I come second to them, I know that I've given everything I can and everything I had within me to try to get back to their level. I've given the best of myself. What I saw from Lingard and Dan James as 2 examples was 2 players that were resigned to defeat, that were resigned to not getting back into that starting lineup. And people say things like the Man United DNA is a myth. I don't believe that it is. I believe the DNA refers to a work ethic and a mentality as opposed to a skill set. And the mentality is I'm going to fight tooth and nail every minute to be the best of myself and give the best of my team. And when I don't see that from an individual player, I have a big problem. I can accept the level of quality differing between my squad. In my lifetime growing up, I quite enjoyed watching players like Jasper Blomqvist. We had Nicky Butt as part of our team. Nicky Butt was a good player, better than Jasper Blomqvist. But the point I'm making is Nicky Butt, Jasper Blomqvist, you know, Ronnie Johnsons of this world, the David Mays, the Henningbergs. We move into the generation further down the line of the Darren Fletchers and the John O'Sheas, the Wes Browns. Danny Welbecks of this world. I respected them all as Man United players. You know why? Because they worked. They put a shift in. They tried as hard as they could every game to be the best they could. And they complemented the squad of which they were in. Man United fans now, this modern day fan, they don't want that. They want every player to be of high quality. And that's the myth. Because if you go through the greatest teams in the last 30 years, you can take players out of those teams and put them into new clubs. And they're never as influential. You know, we saw Pedro leave Barcelona. Yeah. Pedro left Barcelona and went to Chelsea. Was he doing at Chelsea what he was doing at Barca? No, the style was different. He didn't have Messi, didn't have Xavi, didn't have Iniesta. He was good, but he was never near those same standards again. And that's how the proof's in the pudding for me. There's very rarely such thing as 11 players from front to back who are of very good to world-class standard. I don't think that's ever existed or very rarely has existed within teams. There's always holes. There's always 1 or 2 players that I think are being carried by the rest of the team. And it isn't a disrespect to them. It's just the way things are. So for me, when we speak of DNA at Man United, the United way, whatever you want to call it, it's a mentality and it's a work ethic and it's a dedication to the badge, but also to yourself to say, I gave everything I could. And we've all done this in our professional careers where something hasn't quite worked out. We've missed out on a sale. We've lost a contract or the report got bad feedback, whatever it is you do for a living. I don't know what people do. You know, your customer wasn't happy with the wall that you built. We all know in our heart of hearts, did I really put everything I had into that? And if you did, then I often think you can take the feedback and sort of take it on the chin. Does that make sense? But if you know you didn't, there's often that part of you where you're like, oh, do you know what? Yeah, I let up in relation to that. A few people saying Pedro got old when he joined Chelsea. That was what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago. He was 27. Don't give me that nonsense. That's prime age, and he wasn't as good. Like, do you know what I mean? He weren't bad. He wasn't bad, but he was never at that same peak level, in my opinion. And you can probably go through, if you do the research on it, I think you could find that on multiple occasions. Do I think Jordan Henderson could lead Barcelona to success running their midfield?
No, but if he has the right people, then
if they played the system and they surrounded him with the right people, he could be the leader they need. But would he be the technical? Could he go and replace Xavi? No, like he couldn't go and do that job. So it's horses for courses, in my view. Gary Neville, was he the kind of right back the world wanted to be? No, but what he did for Man United was so important and imperative. You know, would he have been as good if he'd have gone elsewhere? I don't think so. I just think sometimes people fit a club, fit a team, and do well. And I think we need to understand that we're never going to have at Man United a squad 1 to 23 where we're all like, oh, I love all these players. So I just think it's something people have got to, you know, to quote Disney, they've got to let it go. They've really got to let it go. Otherwise, they're not going to enjoy it anymore. And for me, listen, do I think Scott McTominay and Brandon Williams are the best two young footballers I've ever seen? No. Do you know why they're important, though, right? And I heard someone there, I don't know who said this. I was watching something the other day and they spoke about how City only have one academy player. It might have.
So?
And I'm like, that's cool, but that's City. Man United are built on it. It's interesting. You hear some people do this. I don't care about academy players. I don't care about traditions. I just want us to win. And then when we lose, it's like, we're Man United. We shouldn't be going through this. I feel like these two things are, again, they hypocrisize each other. The reason we are Man United is because of our traditions. Winning has been part of that for a long period. But what's behind that win? So it's almost like you're happy to get rid of some parts of our traditions and our history and our DNA, and you don't care about blooding youth players, but you don't want to lose the winning part of it. And for me, if I was in charge of this, I would say it comes as a package, or you don't get any of it. We're not gonna ring fence the winning element and remove the traditions of developing young players. What I like about having academy players as part of your squad is I think they're more than happy to remain as part of your squad. If Scott McTominay spent 7, 8, 9 games on the bench, I don't think he's kicking off. Where I think if you go out and sign someone better than him, and then suddenly, you know, Bruno and Van der Beek are in great form and not playing, I think that can cause problems. Not because the player's a problem, but there we go. That's just my view and opinion on it. Listen, so as far as I'm concerned, someone said, what's your point, Terry? My point is, me too. You too, bro. Take care, mate. Thank you very, very much, mate. Take care of yourself. Listen, I think for me, my point is this. I just think that we just need to be a bit more relaxed about the overall quality of our squad. We need better. And if we sign Ndidi tomorrow and McTominay becomes a fringe player, am I going to be upset? No, I'm really not. Do I want McTominay sold? Do I think he's important to have as part of our squad? Every single day of the week. Every single day of the week. And the summer should serve as an example to people. This time last year, we were having to play Lingard and Pereira, Williams at left back, because we didn't have strength in depth. We had to go and get a Garlo. Now we look at our bench, we go, oh, look at that. Why? Because we signed Tellers, because we signed Van der Beek, and because we signed Cavani and Bruno Fernandes. We had 2 or 3 more players to this squad. And you will then see some of the more mediocre players pushed out of the matchday squad and some of the good players pushed onto the bench. And there is better quality there. But you need that blend. You need that blend of players for me. You know, you can't just have everybody as an out-and-out baller. If you can find me an out-and-out baller who has the work rate, the athleticism, the determination, and the grit, and the leadership skills all in one, play them, bruv. I don't know how many exist. Do me a big, big favor. Hit the like and the share button, people. Thank you very much for tuning in. We're back later on.